Pennsylvania County is the oldest county within Virginia that was formed from Halifax County. And it is located in southern Virginia, right on the North Carolina border.
Pocahontas Island is one of the oldest African-American neighborhoods. It was founded back in about the 1700s. Still a very thriving community to this day, a significant amount of history. Pocahontas Island was originally named Whittentown. During that time, you had individuals from different cultures actually living on the island.
Capron is a part of the original square tract of the reservation that was formulated back in 1705.
One of the reasons why I wanted to do this project is because I was working on a historical marker for Northside High School. And so in doing my research and learning more about it, I learned that it came out of the Cherry Stone Baptist Association.
My project will focus on the Jarrett House, which is the last surviving home on Pocahontas Island. It is from the early 19th century. It's one of the last surviving properties. What I want to do is focus on the Jarrett family itself. It's an African-American family that was able to retain home ownership of this property for over 100 years. What I want to do is look at the Jarrett family in general, kind of each generation, and look at what may have been significant about what they were doing in that time. I found through my current research is that some of the Jarrett family members didn't actually live in the home, they actually rented it out. And so that speaks to the level of affluence they had. Then also looking at Lavina Simpson, who was an indigenous individual who actually resided in the home prior to the Jarretts acquiring it.
My project is very interesting to me and other members of my tribe, people in my family and so forth. And basically what we've talked about over a number of years, how our native ancestors merged with the African community.
I want to record all of the early pastors. We know that the churches are also a good source of genealogical data. So I also want to trace the family histories, see if I can find some interesting information there. But the documentation process is going to end up in a website.
One of the surprising things that I found out was William Jarrett Jr. did a significant amount of development throughout the city of Petersburg. Some of the properties such as the Siege Museum, he actually did some restoration work in that property and also did some development work in the Chesterfield County area for the College Park properties. And so learning about that during a time where, it was a lot of oppression going on in the black community, and so just seeing the fact that we had a developer during that time frame, I think is significant.
Our interest is a lot having to do with why the merger. And it came to us that it really had to do with survival and being able to make sure that your family was cared for and that your children would live to another generation. In that, the natives did merge with the African community because we were all under siege at that time.
The fellowship is important because if you think about the stats, starting with the people that are involved in preservation work, we always look at it as a white thing. And there's less than 1% of people that look like me that are doing this work. Not only that, but when you think about the stats around the country of having these places documented, less than 3% of these sites and churches and all of these things are listed on the National Register. So the work is important because the story hasn't been told, but also to bring about a more inclusive narrative in this country. And a lot of times we get one viewpoint, but these things are totally changing the landscape because you're going into these different spaces in Virginia and it's like, okay, there's another story there.
I lived in Petersburg for over 5 years before finding out about Pocahontas Island, and so I think it's important to tell those untold stories and to ensure that people can make that connection with the history and the affluence that was actually, the family of the Jarrett being able to just pass down generational wealth like they did.
For me, it's a matter of being able to go back and look at my ancestors, both Nottoway, both African, white, and think about what the world was like when they were coming along and why certain things happened.
I hope to inspire a generation when the young ones, when they see us coming, it's like, oh Lord, here's a historian, here's a genealogist, but I'm really hoping to inspire the youth that they will look at this work and, it will bring about a sense of pride. They can say, okay, they did this, my ancestor did that, or my ancestor started this church. So I'm really hoping to inspire the youth and just to get the work out there so it's known.
Being able to take this history and these lessons, be able to share that to our youth, so that way they can be aware of, the significance of Black perseverance. And so just mainly looking to, like I said, revitalize the Jared House and then be able to teach the youth as well.
I want our people to, all people, but especially those who are in my tribe, those who are in the Southampton County area, to think about actually doing this sort of research and sharing. Not just sharing, but documenting the oral histories, because that's where a lot of things are forgotten.